Cougars! Touchdown, Gunnar Romney! The game is over. The streak is over.
This is BYU Sports Nation, brought to you by the BYU Store, simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now, from Studio B, here's Spencer Linton and Jarom Jordan.
BYU Sports Nation is live on a Monday. Your day-to-day play-by-play in Studio B, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. It is a celebratory September 13th. Wherever and however you're connected, great to have you with us. I'm Spencer Linton, teamed up with the man who, like many of you, just enjoyed the best week ever as a BYU fan, Jarom Jordan.
No offense to my wife. That was the best weekend of my life. No, it's my wedding and then that. Yeah. Amazing. Hey, wait, what's up? Incredible stuff. Oh, what a weekend. If it was just the BYU-Utah game, it would have been incredible. If it was just Big 12, it would have been incredible. The combination of those two things, unbelievable. We took a picture after the game on the field, and I tweeted, mood.
Yeah, pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah!
Actual victory.
Yes, one of those that BYU actually does. So we have yet to have this show ever, by the way. So this is our 9th football season on the air, 2,090-plus episodes. We've never talked about a win over Utah in football. So here we are today. We made it. We did it.
What a tragedy.
The team did it, but we're with it.
That we haven't had the opportunity to do this,
Yeah.
but it just turned into a happy ending, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just a fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great to be here discussing a BYU football win over Utah.
And it finally settled in. I was in denial for a while, even Saturday night. Like, wait, it happened? No. I mean, it's been so long. It finally, like, last night and this morning was like, oh, yeah, it did happen.
I went down the happy Twitter rabbit hole for about 3 hours straight.
You and I were out until 4 a.m.
Yes.
If you followed me on IG, you know where we were. But, yeah.
Hey, here's your celebratory show lineup.
2.5 hours of sleep.
And we should celebrate for several reasons. Because, yes, the streak is over. BYU's in a Power 5 conference in 2023, but still invited to a Power 5 conference. And for the first time, as Jaron mentioned, in the history of the show, 8 years we've been doing this. We can discuss a BYU football win against Utah. ESPN's Trevor Matich back for another Matich Monday. What was the most impressive thing he saw in BYU's momentous victory? And how is the nation perceiving the Cougars now? Plus, Pro Football Hall of Famer, BYU legend, Super Bowl MVP Steve Young joins us live. He called his shot on national television. BYU backed it up. And what did he think about Jaren Hall's performance? Hey, loaded show lineup. Don't go anywhere. All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
You're talking about it, and so are we. It's What's Trending on BYU Sports Nation.
Streak Busters. Saturday was indeed a special day for BYU football. Where do we begin? The atmosphere, energy, excitement, all palpable at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Utah, it felt like, was venturing into a riled-up hive at LES.
A Deseret, if you will.
Yes. On the heels of that Big 12 invite, a win over Arizona, 11-1 in 2020 with Zach Wilson, 5 NFL draft picks, the 20-year anniversary honoring so many heroes from the 9/11 tragedy, brand new video boards, the flyover by those crazy. Jarom, it was just a special, special night.
In hindsight, Utah was never going to win this game. BYU was going to win. There was too much going into this. And the place was juiced. It reminded me of the Gonzaga basketball game in 2020 if there was all that context around it. But just the game itself, Cougar Nation brought it, and I think the team really fed off that. Kalani Sitake was not supposed to interact with any fans before the game. But he bursts through a barrier and celebrates with the Rock right before he enters the stadium. And there was so much juice. Like, I'm getting chills thinking about how much juice was in the building. I didn't get to the game until midway through the first quarter because there were 11 goals scored at the women's soccer game. So as soon as I get in there, it's just electric. The Rock was in there 2 hours before, packed. Like, when the white hairs stand up a bunch, you know it's one of those special games. No offense. Just the elderly who have been here forever and paid for season tickets. The knitters, the radio, headphone people. All of us, everybody, were on their feet right, in the stands. I was in the press box just sitting there. But anyway, incredible. It was a special night, and that juice really gave the team, I think, what it needed to go win this game. If this game's played in an empty stadium, I still think BYU wins. But I think the fact that BYU wins by 9 is extra meaningful because it's BYU's first 2-score win over Utah since '96. It wasn't just a barely, you got it lucky something play, which we would have taken.
Yes. No, BYU
it was a
won
2-score win.
They took it from Utah. They dominated in the trenches.
Let's quantify that.
Never trailed in the game.
Never trailed. 4.8 yards per carry, ran for 219 against Utah. That means so much that BYU, no trick, my uncle texted me this morning. No trick plays in this. Didn't need to be weird. BYU just went nose up into Utah and won this game.
First turnover-free rivalry game since, how about this?
Interesting.
2009, the last time BYU beat Utah.
Wow. It's a great stat.
And Hall was starting at quarterback for the Cougars.
Great stat from Greg Wrubell after the game. In the postgame, he said, since he's been tracking everything in the modern era of BYU football, 72 on, Lavelle on, BYU didn't turn the ball over in the Boca Raton Bowl or the first 2 games this year. First time since 72, BYU has had 3 games in a row where it hasn't turned the ball over.
That's incredible.
That's been a massive key here.
BYU's 13-1 overall in their last 14 games and 18-3 over the last 21 games.
That one's crazy. I didn't believe it, and then we kind of walked through that. That was probably at 2 a.m. When we were talking about that one Saturday or Sunday morning. That's crazy.
18-3 in the last 21 games, 4-1 against the last 5 Power 5 teams that BYU has played.
And there's no, it's not like it was lowlights, just all Arizona's. It was Tennessee and USC and Utah.
Yeah, an 8-5 Tennessee team on the road.
Although USC got smacked by Tanner McKee, elder, at Stanford. Wow.
What a weekend for BYU, for college football in general. BYU is now a ranked team, number 23.
Yeah, how about that?
They jump into
23-19.
The AP, yes, 20. We have a 23-19 as BYU and Arizona State are due up this Saturday. But Jarom, there were so many things. And by the way, BYU's won 11 games in a row at home at LaVell Edwards Stadium, which I think it's number 4, number 5 all time for the longest home win streak. They've got a lot of good things happening.
Everything's great right now. Like, literally, it's the Lego movie. Everything's awesome.
Jaren Hall with a breakout performance.
Yes.
Not because he threw the ball over the field, but as we discussed right after the game, his legs were dynamite.
So good. To me, that's the difference in the game, Spencer. His ability in 3rd and 1, 4th and 11.
BYU
this run right
go
here
for it on 4th and 11 from the 38-yard line, and they get a first down.
8 rushes, 92 yards, 11.5 a carry. I don't think he was sacked once. He danced in the pocket. I don't know if he was a dancer as a kid, but he is a dancer as an adult. He is dancing in the pocket very successfully, making great decisions. We're seeing his development before our eyes, and this has been a long time coming for him. Remember, this is his 4th year in the program. He watched Zach Wilson for 3 years. He sat there. He even started a couple of games. We've chronicled it. Jaren Hall's a baller, dude. He has come out and been awesome. He's got 5 touchdowns and no giveaways.
5 touchdowns, no giveaways.
Yes, he's got to complete more passes, 18 of 30. He was playing Utah. Like, Utah's a good secondary. They're always good. He started the game out rough, like Arizona, but he settled in. BYU's got a chance to have a really nice season this year because it's got a good defense, which set 16 points. What was it? 16 or 19 points allowed in the first one. 17 points in this one. Sub 400 yards again. Got a takeaway, in this case 2. Great things are happening.
Dominated the time of possession against Utah.
Aaron Roderick's play calling, analyzed Tuiaki's timing of blitzes, spectacular on Saturday.
Jaren Hall was about 3 millimeters away from having 140-ish rush yards, but it got called out. But it's okay because you look back on it and you think, all right, if he had scored, does that give Utah too much time to come back and try and score another touchdown and make it weird? BYU proceeds to run 4 additional minutes off the clock after he's ruled out of bounds, and that touchdown was called back. They kick a field goal. But when BYU made that field goal and Jake Oldroyd knocked it through, did it not feel like, okay, BYU just won the game?
Yes, it felt like that. It really felt like that when Charlie Brewer airmailed one to Britton Covey on 4th and 2.
Oh, boy.
I was like, it's over now.
Advantage
Finally.
Jaren Hall in the quarterback battle. How about that? The sophomore getting it done against the kid that transferred over from Baylor.
Charlie Brewer doesn't do it again against Big 12 competition.
Hey.
That was blatant.
Oh, snap. I had a chance to speak with Jaron Hall after the game.
Yeah, you did.
In the moment of a celebration. People literally were being boxed out so that we could do the interview. Thank you, Junior Phillips, for stepping in on that. And I asked this question, simply, how would you explain your emotions in this moment?
It's surreal, man. I mean, I think we had confidence in what happened, but actually experience this, all the talk of the last 9 years, all this and that. It's surreal, and I'm just proud of my guys, man. Proud to be a part of this team and this fan base.
Let's walk back to that last drive. 23-17, the pressure's on. You know you need something special. What was going through your mind as that drive began?
Just keep it simple, stick to the fundamentals. We practice all week, execute our base plays, and each and every one of the 11 guys did that. So, kudos to each and every one of my teammates, man. They stepped up big time.
At what point did you figure out that your feet were going to be the main weapon?
I always know the feet are working, I don't like to use them very much, but when you got to do it, you got to do it, So just happened to work out tonight.
You said you felt slow last week against Arizona. Did you feel slow tonight?
No. I just got to stay in bounds now. That's all.
As you take in the fans around you, let's talk about the atmosphere throughout the night. Could you feel it? Did you hear it?
The energy was nonstop beginning to the end, so we really used that to our advantage, channeled it, but then when we got on the field, just tried to execute and play football as it is.
At what point in this game did you feel like we're going to win?
From the very first kickoff, man, the energy, the trust in each other, I knew we would and hoped we would, and, here we are.
Yes, indeed. Here we are. BYU victorious against Utah for the first time since 2009.
He just did something, and this team, of course, that Hill never did, and Jamal Williams never did, and Kyle Van Noy and Fred Warner. You know what I mean?
Wilson didn't do it.
Like, it finally happened. I'm not trying to denigrate those guys. I'm just stating a fact. Like, this was an incredible moment, and to end the streak, like, Utah has been way better than BYU. And on Saturday, BYU was way better than Utah. This is what happens in a rivalry. You trade blows. And it was great to see Puka Nacua, by the way, play. When it was announced that the catch by Puka Nacua, the whole crowd stood up and clapped like, Puka, welcome to BYU. We're so glad you're here.
The Nacua brothers.
Yes, they
playing
brought
a
some
prominent
juice,
role in this.
dude.
Samson Nacua is a vibe in and of himself.
Yes, he is. And when Samson and Puka on Samson's touchdown right here both took off their helmets. By the way, Puka nearly injures Mason Wake. Mason jumps, gets taken out.
He didn't quite hurdle Puka, did he?
They missed the PAT, and it's like, oh no, is that going to come back to bite BYU? It didn't, which, by the way, I tweeted during the game, that missed PAT, though. Jake Oldroyd after the game. My bad, Jarom.
Oh, Jake. He delivered the kick that mattered most.
Yes, he sealed the win. He sealed
to make it 26-17. I have so many different thoughts running through my mind. Like, we could spend all week talking about all of the elements of this game. It mattered so much because now BYU gets to sit on this win, Jarom, until they face Utah again in 2024.
As a member of the Big 12 Conference.
Like, this win was worth 3 years of bragging rights.
4
and it was
because they didn't play last year,
yes,
if you will.
The last opportunity, maybe, that Kalani would have had to beat Kyle Whittingham. How long is Kyle Whittingham going to be at Utah?
It's been 746 days since Utah beat BYU. Just want to point that out.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This one mattered a lot. BYU last chance as an independent to beat Utah. They did it.
Yes.
On the home field.
Well, now that BYU's joined a Power 5 league, Utah doesn't have as much success against that version of BYU. So there you go.
Our question of the day. Wow. What was your after party like following BYU's win over Utah? And now to set this up, let's go to one of the more memorable moments in the postgame with Uriah Leatao. Lopa, he made it very clear how he was going to celebrate this win.
I'm going to go to bed so I can go to church. I'm going to church. Praise God, Praise God.
The guy to his left, hilarious.
Voice of the nation on BYU Sports Nation.
Yes, the fan reaction behind him. Yes! Yes, sweat. That guy's sweating harder than Uriah is.
Well, and the rain came down, and the drought ended.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Hey, what was your after party like? Going to church and hanging out with, the celebratory BYU fans in your local ward?
Later, I'll share an experience I had at church with one former BYU player who showed up 45 minutes away from his home ward.
At Tana Chris on Twitter. stormed the field, high-fived, and took pictures with players and coaches, stopped by Maverick on the way home for candy, popcorn, and an energy drink, and rewatched the whole game on TV until 4:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Still tired today and would do it all again in a heartbeat. Hashtag BYUSN.
Weigh in on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Coming up, Steve Young joins the program to discuss beating Utah and going to the Big 12.
Plus, one of Steve Young's former teammates, Trevor Matich, the national championship center at BYU in '84, on what impressed him the most from JAREN Hall. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
My name is Spencer Finnegan. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. During my sophomore year, I got married to my sweetheart, Mary, and there's tons of unexpected expenses when it comes to marriage. We were looking for scholarships. I found the replenishment grant, and my local alumni chapter gave me a grant to help me focus in on school. I'm so excited to, now that I've graduated, give back to those students that are coming to BYU in the future.
Let's kick off AFR on BYU TV.
What they did in that fourth quarter was not unexpected in my book.
Everyone did their job perfectly, and it resulted in, obviously, a touchdown.
Who knew that he had these kind of hands?
And right at the snap of the football, they both go right downhill. And that was the end of that. He knocked him down pretty quickly.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Gregor Bell is going to chat with Elias Tuyaki and Ed Lamb on the Coordinator's Corner, coming up right after us at 1 Eastern Time, recapping the big win over Utah and a big game with Arizona State Saturday.
Do they have anything to talk about?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Happy Monday, everyone, and I mean that probably more so than I ever have said when I've said that before. We are live in Studio B. This is your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I am Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. Joining us now over Zoom is our longtime friend and ESPN college football insider, expert analyst, national champion, Trevor Matich. Trevor, like I said to everybody else, happy Monday. How was the best weekend ever as a BYU guy?
You know, it was awesome. I'm just thinking about the poor people who were out enjoying the great outdoors over the weekend, who went off grid, they were camping, and then they came back and the entire, BYU fandom was going nuts. They're going, well, why? What happened? I was sitting by a creek playing my guitar, eating freeze-dried chili, right? Those are the guys I feel bad for, because this was a monumental, momentous weekend for BYU. And you said greatest ever. It's up there with the greatest ever. Freeze-dried
chili. I'm not sure I've tried that or will try that, but we'll get into that later. BYU beats Utah. Trevor. This was so long coming. Here's BYU finally taking down Utah. And BYU won this game, Trevor. This wasn't a trick play, random. BYU physically won this game on both lines, rushed for 200+. Jaren Hall was incredible with his decision-making. Yes, his passing can get better, but BYU's 2-0 in rank now after this win.
They are, and you're right. They just played smash-mouth football against the most physical team in the Pac-12, and they beat them at smash-mouth football. It's interesting. Utah coach Kyle Whittingham said after the game that he would have bet the house that BYU would not win the line of scrimmage, but BYU did win the line of scrimmage on both sides. And coming into this game, I knew that Utah had one of the better combinations of offensive line and defensive front seven, linebackers and defensive linemen, and offensive line. That combination, one of the better groups in the country. And BYU would have to just be physical. They just have to hit Utah in the mouth, take the hits that Utah would deliver, taste their own blood in their mouth, spit their teeth on the ground, line up, and hit them again to have any kind of a chance, because you cannot finesse a team like Utah. They will smash you. And that's how BYU played. On both sides of the ball, they controlled the line of scrimmage against a very, very physical team. And I'll tell you what, that was the thing that made me the happiest in this game.
Trevor Matich with us on BYU Sports Nation. What does a win like BYU had over Utah, other than get them into the top 25 at number 23, mean for this program and how the nation is perceiving them right now?
Well, the way they're perceived right now is that they're still on the rise. I mean, the nation loves BYU football anyway, in general. Last year was Zach Wilson. There was so much fun about BYU, especially when they were the only team west of the Rockies, that maybe in west of Mississippi for a while, that was playing football. And so a lot of people looked at last year and said, yeah, BYU, let's reconnect with that. And all of a sudden now 2-0, not against two non-Power 5 teams like they had to do last year, but against two Power 5 teams, one of them ranked, Utah, and that 2-0 means a whole lot more. So now people are looking at BYU in a different light. Instead of, hey, these guys are really fun and they can beat anybody on any given weekend, they're thinking, hey, BYU, this team is legit. And now they have to continue on to keep winning in order to maintain that. But at the same time, you can sense a shift in the expectations nationally that people have of this program, from a lot of fun to watch to really got to take them seriously.
And now let's see where it goes. Arizona State's going to be a tough game. We'll talk about that in a second. But Ryan Russillo, who we're big fans of, I know you know him well from his ESPN days, now with the Ringer, tweeted, JAREN Hall, most athletic player at BYU since Trevor Matich?
You know, there's a lot of debate about that. And I think I would give him the edge, but not much. If you haven't seen me do my 3-cone drill and my vertical jump, then don't judge yet and don't just assume. JAREN Hall was fantastic. His numbers weren't great, but his job isn't to go out there and put up great numbers. His job is to go out there and manage the assets around him. His assets include his own ability to run and make plays off schedule against the defense that he faced. And in doing that, he was absolutely magnificent. Didn't make the big mistakes. When he missed, he didn't miss in places to put the ball in general or in danger most of the time. And he was able to maximize what he had against a very solid Utah defense. And I tell you, that's the art of quarterbacking. So often you see a quarterback who thinks that if he's a great thrower, if he can throw the ball deep down the field and hit that guy accurately, man, is he a great quarterback? No, might be a great thrower. A great quarterback is about managing everything. And people think that the term game manager is is derogatory. It's not. You need to manage your assets, but then you need to make plays. And JAREN Hall did both. He was able to maximize the people around him. And when the time came that he just had to pull it down and make something happen, he made it happen.
Trevor, that was probably one of the most impressive things that I saw all night was JAREN Hall's ability to control things and get his team in focus when it got a little weird there at the end. Utah cut the lead at 23-17, and then led by JAREN Hall, BYU goes down and kicks a field goal that makes it a 2-score game. What did you see on that drive that you liked the most from JAREN Hall and BYU?
Focus and calmness. A lot of times you'll see a quarterback get jittery, right? He'll start to move around and make decisions really fast, and he doesn't let things unfold. He doesn't process the information. He gets ahead of the information because he's worried that something's going to happen. And that's not in JAREN Hall's DNA. JAREN Hall has that low blood pressure, that low heart rate. I go back to last week on a play that I just love that really he brought into this week from a standpoint of style, where he dropped back to pass. The pocket was collapsing around him on both sides. Really, I mean, almost on it. He moved a little bit to his left, and then he unleashed a perfect strike to Neil Pau'u for, I think it was 67 yards, right? And it's like his heart rate wasn't even up when he did it. He was that way this entire game, especially in that last drive, because Utah was roaring back. Utah has a history in recent years of outscoring BYU, especially severely in the fourth quarter. And the offense had to figure that the defense was pretty tired at this point because they were playing lights out. And it was time for the offense to make a drive to help put this game out of reach. And the offense came through. And they came through because Jaren Hall and everybody else just took a breath, and they executed each play, and they didn't get freaked out by the moment. And that's one of the most impressive things about this performance.
BYU to the Big 12, obviously extremely validating. It's going to be a couple of years before they actually get in and do that. But at first I thought, shoot, I was hoping BYU would be in next year. But now I feel like, no. This 2-year kind of ramp up of not only anticipation, but recruiting and budgets and schedules, it's going to take a sec. BYU feels like it's ready to go there now, but I think that this is going to be good. What's your overall reaction to, one, getting into the Big 12, and two, what it means for the next couple of years?
This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. BYU as an independent was great. BYU and is great. Independence has been good for BYU. The Western Athletic Conference for football has been fantastic for BYU, and then the Mountain West after that. And now going to the Big 12, this is the biggest thing off the field that's ever happened to this program, and it's well-deserved. Now, I think that going in with the other 3 schools in 2023 is the right move. As an independent, they could go in anytime they want. But when you look at what this does for the Big 12, it solidifies that conference, and in doing so, it solidifies BYU's position in college football because they lose Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. That's tough. The remaining 8 schools were – They had lost some of the national cachet that they would have to have Texas and Oklahoma in their conference. But by adding BYU, a national fan base, international fan base, adding Cincinnati, which gives them a huge foothold in the heart of the Big Ten, UCF, which has been a team that's on the rise and playing at the highest levels in some cases in football, that is in Orlando. It's in the ACC and the SEC recruiting footprint. And then Houston, which is another massive market and another historically outstanding athletic program top to bottom. The Big 12 now has made itself national again. And BYU is a big part of that. So I think they'll maintain their autonomous 5, their Power 5 status. And then as time goes forward, and this is the deal, as time goes forward and there's new grant of rights, there maybe media companies will come in, new media companies, technology companies, maybe Amazon with Amazon Prime, or YouTube will come in, or Twitter or Facebook, and start to bid for live college football programming. The Big 12 is now once again a program or a conference with national reach. And so we can talk about the budgets and the money, and boy, all that'll be there. But BYU will now be in the thick of that stream. And that's what's important about this, because going forward, we don't know what college football will look like in terms of how people will consume it. But we do know that BYU will now certainly be consumed by college football fans at the highest level, and that's important.
Trevor Matich is on BYU Sports Nation. Let's finish with this, Trevor. While BYU has to wait a little while to seek a Big 12 championship, they're the de facto Pac-12 South leaders with wins over Arizona and Utah, and another shot at Arizona State this weekend. How do the Cougars match up with the Sun Devils in a ranked matchup, 23 versus number 19?
You know, it's quite similar as it was in Utah. Arizona State's a very physical team, and a little primer for them. Last year, they led the Pac-12 in rushing yards per game. Well, in Utah, it was Arizona State. Last year, they led the Pac-12 in defense. Wasn't Utah, USC, Oregon. It was Arizona State. They led the Pac-12 in defensive takeaways, and they have 15 starters back. This is an incredibly experienced team, experienced quarterback, great running backs. They've got young wide receivers, but incredibly talented. I mean, they've got 4 or 5 4-star recruits in their wide receiver core. So they're young, they're fast, they're talented. This is a team that is very complete in most ways, and BYU will have to put together a very similar style of play. They've got to be physical or they won't have a chance. But then the little guys on the edges and in the back 7 on defense are going to have to run like they've never run before, because there'll be a whole lot of guys that they'll have to chase that are outstanding Pac-12 skill players.
Cannot wait. Thanks for the pregame talk, Trevor. And again, you're one of the most athletic players to ever play at BYU, according to Ryan Russillo. So we will end that the conversation today by saying that and thanking you again for another fantastic Matich Monday.
You're very welcome. I'm going to go out and run my 3-cone drill now.
Yes, I love it. Trevor Matich on BYU Sports Nation. The Cougars coming off one of the best weeks ever. It's right up there with the national championship.
Yes, it is. And it's been a minute since that. So, yeah, sometimes you need to stop sharing your spiritual experiences from your mission in Sunday school and share ones that happened recently, right? Yes, BYU has had recent success, and the weekend was amazing. It was amazing.
Oh.
Okay, coming up, he's got Monday Night Countdown tonight, but he still made time for us this morning. Steve Young will join us.
When you break a 9-game losing streak to Utah, you make time. And should BYU be higher in the national polls than number 23? This is BYU Sports Nation.
Oh, we getting picky now?
Maybe.
One thing Mountain America has learned over nearly a century of helping members achieve their financial dreams is that we are stronger together. We achieve great things together. And while we are still here to serve you, we know together feels different right now. It might take some time, but we're looking forward to the day when we can gather together again. We're still here, guiding you forward.
This is where we dominate. Our playground, place of business. This is our promised land, where we seek to find ourselves. And we're here to make sure the spaces our best prove themselves on appear how they should. Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Familiar with the BYU TV app? Yes.
I beg your pardon?
Sure, it's got great original TV shows. But it also gives you access to family films for free.
Wow, awesome!
So gather around, grab some popcorn, and let us do the rest.
It'll be fun.
Watch some of your favorite films anytime, anywhere. With the free BYU TV app.
I like it.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Visible Supply Chain Management.
After further review, checks out the win over Utah, of course, previews Arizona State. Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler, David Nixon break it down Tuesday night on the BYU TV app at 7 Eastern Time.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation live from Studio B. Typically, this is where we hit the whip around, but
not today.
We're calling an audible in honor of an elite member of BYU Sports Nation. Pro Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl MVP Steve Young joins us live. Steve, you called your shot on ESPN that the Cougars would beat the Utes. How does it feel to be right?
It feels really good. You know, I was joking that last year they were afraid to play us because they were afraid to play Zach. And man, it was funny to see everybody heat up on that. Like, come on, man, I'm just joking. I'm just half joking. But yeah, no, what was great about it was not only just the emotion in the stadium and just it was like, wow, you could sense what had happened the day before, but it was the football. It was the dynamic. A-Rod is on fire. And I told Dave Dunn, who represents Kalani Sitake, who's my agent as well, Dave, you don't start thinking that A-Rod needs to go to the 49ers or go. Like, A-Rod is there for as long as Kalani's there. A-Rod is there, and that you could, because I just felt like Jarom he opened up, and you could see that his game is going to get better and better as he gets more comfortable. And A-Rod finds places to accentuate that, and I love about that. What I said to Kalani after the game is what happened defensively. Instead of just kind of very vanilla, bend but don't break, kind of just be a tough guy, want to punch everything in the mouth, it felt like we were coming dynamically from all over the place. And the Utes couldn't quite catch up, and it went the whole game. So when you have that offensively kind of innovation coming at you from a lot of different places, and then you get on the defensive side, it's the same kind of feeling when you're just kind of getting overrun. You don't know what to do, and all of a sudden you get that glazed look in your eye, and then the ball's on the ground, and stuff just, so, and they never really recovered. And I'm sure at the end of the game, when you play a team like the Cougs were on Saturday, you can't remember it. You're like, what happened? And the Utes were driving back up to Salt Lake, and the bus is going, what was that? And that's what you want everyone thinking about every week. Is like, what? I couldn't remember what happened. It was so dynamic. And so that was fun for me to watch from a kind of technical perspective on what BYU could be this year because of both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. So many things to digest. Let's talk about Jaren Hall and his play. BYU Statsman on Twitter just mentioned that the 104 career pass attempts of Jaren Hall without an interception is the most to start a career without an interception. You are number 2 at 58 attempts. So pretty good. He's not turning the ball over.
58 until Utah State on Friday night before John. I remember that one. Wow. And Todd Shell had to save my bacon on that one. But anyway, and by the way, the game is becoming, the pro game is becoming more like college. The college game is becoming like just wild. Everybody's open. There's all kinds of opportunity. And I spend the weekend, whenever I do watch football, my family doesn't watch the football. My son's a music theater major. My other son's a gamer. My wife doesn't really like football. We've talked about this before. So I don't get to watch it. I'm usually at the oven or the stove cooking lunch or dinner, watching something on my phone. But whenever I watch, I'm like, where was I for all this? This is so great. This is so much fun to play quarterback right now. And Jaren's going to be, he's you could just see him kind of come out. You know what I mean? Like it was like there was a power to his game on Saturday that I think is going to pay off the rest of the year as the confidence builds. And the excitement and the confidence and the feelings, especially after what happened on Friday, there's no bigger 2 days in the history of BYU sports ever close.
Seriously.
Last Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that is an accurate statement. In fact, as you compare the two, a Power 5 invitation to the Big 12 Conference, which BYU has been waiting forever for, and then they break the streak against Utah. BYU is competing not just against Utah, but against history. And the idea that they would have to sit on another 3 years of losing to Utah because they're not going to play for the next 2 years. Steve, what was the bigger deal? What had you more excited, the Big 12 invite or breaking the streak?
Well, emotionally, obviously, Saturday was huge, right? Especially with the Utes being in the top 20 and looking like they might win the Pac-12 and could go to a major bowl. Like that's the way that they were looking at the season, and they still should. But there's not even close. No matter how much emotion you had for Saturday, Friday was by far the most important day in BYU sports history.
Amen.
By far. We have waited for 40 years. Everything that we've done ever since Mark Wilson beat Texas A&M or you name it back in the day, Virgil Carter, we've always been, wow, that was great, but, and we never could get into the mix. And whatever we did to threaten whatever top 10, top 5 even times, top 20s over the years, they're always with a but. And we were okay. Look, we've been like the bulldog in the pant leg of the NCAA football Division I. We're not letting go, and I love that about us. And we've always had that spirit that we're punching above our weight, that we're doing more than anyone thought we could. It was like that's who we are. That's what we've always felt, and we've relished in that role. But we've always deeply wanted to have a seat at the table. And so for 40 years, desiring that, and then on Friday, getting that opportunity to have the seat at the table, it was it's a glorious moment for all of us. Anyone that's ever been associated with BYU sports, to take a breath and recognize that there's no more buts. It's just, we're in it. And now everything we do is to put money in the bank for what we can accomplish into the future. And I can't tell you, Friday was a culmination of efforts from a lot of people through a lot of years. And, whether it was the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or efforts under, kind of any efforts we had to try to get that done. And honestly, we need to go back even further, not back further, but just dig a little bit deeper. BYU's athletics, BYU Hawaii had left athletics. BYU Idaho, back in Rick's day, but BYU Idaho has left athletics. And not that BYU would ever lose athletics. It's entrenched here. We get that. But over time, if somehow the ESPN contract fell, or somehow, you know, we were propped up in a very precarious spot. And we, again, relished it. We leaned into it. Tom did a great job. President Worthen did a great, Keith Vorkink. Everybody was working hard to be independent and be great. But it was not a place of, you know, it's kind of like when you remember that thing when you were a kid and you blew into the tube and the bubble and the ball had to be in between the lines. You had to hold it as long as you can before you ran out of breath and kind of set a record. That's what it felt like we were trying to do as independents. It was like it was this high wire act every year. And like, fine, we did it. And we did it as well as anybody could. But that's over. And a huge sigh of relief that we can now just, we're settled. And I think Saturday was a part of Friday. Saturday came on because of that settled. Everyone's like, I don't know how I felt like we're settled. We put the Big 12 hat. Tom put the Big 12 hat on, and now we come out as BYU Cougars of the Big 12, and we come from a different place, a different emotional space. And I just get I got my hand. What is that? The tingles. I mean, I got it all over my body just talking about it.
I'm thinking about that too. And I was like, is this heaven? Everybody's here at this game. We're all together. We're all celebrating the Big 12. We're remembering 9/11. There's new video boards. There's a flyover that's crazy low and loud. The energy was incredible. It was amazing. And I think back, Steve, to your point, 4 years ago, BYU was in an uncomfortable position at 4-9 and firing Ty Detmer and not knowing what the future is going to be like. But at that moment, BYU is able to get Zach Wilson, able to take advantage of chaos of the pandemic, to really shine. We already shone for 40 years, but to really shine at the very end with the season that mattered. And now we're sitting here in ecstasy over a Big 12 invite and win over Utah and another ranked matchup coming up on Saturday. This is about as good as it gets.
And you guys make a good point that that just shows you how at risk we were. And yet what COVID did for us, the COVID season with Zach and the ability to kind of play on national TV and make a difference, I think created a space where Bob Bowlesby, who was the commissioner at the Big 12, you know, I know someone who's very close to me was with him last week, and his description of BYU was the linchpin of expansion, and BYU was the one that we called first, and nervous about what our answer would be, and when we were just just excited and jumped in and we're capable. Remember, we're independent, so we're more capable than anybody else, and that was such a positive. And so, and I think that a lot of the things that have transacted through COVID, I think reasserted who we could be and who we were, and so many of the efforts underneath. Liz Darger, or there's people all over the athletic department that have created an environment of inclusiveness, environment of safety for LGBT athletes, for marginalized athletes, for a spirit that they've created that has resonated with people outside, and they've done that on their own. They've done that with in that spirit of oneness that BYU athletics really has taken on. And so I think all of that has resonated out to the world. And, and look, nothing's perfect and nothing's easy. But I want to tell the people in the BYU athletic department that they have done some special work to allow for this space to happen where the Big 12 could take us in. And my hat's off to them, and I'm really grateful to them.
Very well said. Tom Holmoe, Brian Santiago, Liz Darger, President Worthen, Vice President Keith
Chad
Vorkink.
Lewis, Lee Johnson. I mean, we got all my buddies back from the day. I mean,
yes.
we got Keith Vorkink at the VP level and what he's done in just a brief amount of time. And President Worthen stepped up. We had confidentially, we were looking at all we were under every rock, and especially us. We're probably looking at the Pac-12 as much as anybody. When they closed that door 2 weeks ago, But we'll talk about the work that was done there some other time. It was that's not for today. But President Worthen and Keith and Tom, and I mean, we have really good people.
Yeah,
really good people at BYU. It's just fun to be associated with them.
Incredible stuff on the shoulders of giants. All right, Steve, we'll finish with this. Just because we know you're watching Zach Wilson closely as a New York Jet.
While he, gets lunch ready.
Yeah, of course, yes. On your phone.
By the way, I almost teared up 3 times in the last 10 minutes.
It's emotional.
I want to start crying. I was like, geez, what am we doing? We're on Sports Day. I can't look weak,
Crying is strength, Steve.
It really is a tear. It's like it's an emotional weekend. I don't know how else to put it. So
yeah, understandable.
All right, go ahead. Move on.
No, listen. When Tom Homo was making the announcement, I cried. I'm with you, man. It was awesome. Okay, Zach Wilson's debut as a New York Jet. There were some BYU fans that teared up when he threw his first touchdown pass. See where that kid has come from and his journey and all that stuff. What did you think of his debut performance in the NFL?
It reminded me when I remember being in Denver, and it was my first year with the 49ers in 1987. It's Joe Montana. And I remember that great story where Bill Walsh told me that Joe Montana had 2 back surgeries. He was going to be hurt, and I was going to come in and play. And then all of a sudden, I remember Joe jogged out the first practice, like, he looks pretty healthy. And I just remember that whole preseason kind of trying to figure out where I was and what the NFL was all about. And we went to Denver for a preseason game. And it was it was vicious. I mean, it's preseason, but I was like, whew. Man, the Broncos were flying around. And Joe was like, wow. And I remember thinking, man, this NFL stuff is no joke. The NFL's changed dramatically. You don't see that in the preseason anymore. You don't even get a chance at seeing that kind of thing in the preseason. It's not even close. It's nothing. Preseason is nothing. So all of a sudden you get the first game, you go to Carolina, and Carolina plays some great defense historically and had a team. All of a sudden it's a speed that Zach's never seen. That offensive line has not seen. And they just get overrun. You can see it's like that offensive line is like, whoa, we need to timeout break. We need a break. And they first half was just a mauling. But Zach, to me, just hung in there, right? Don't make any crazy mistakes. Don't anything stupid. Don't freak out. Just hang in there. Don't complain. Don't give any kind of sense of frustration with your offensive line. Just kind of hang. He was a pro. He was a young pro, but he was a pro, and he handled it. Then what does it have in the fourth quarter? A couple nice throws, get back in the ball game, give him the ball one more time. Maybe I go win this thing. So, I mean, in the end, that whole team saw what the NFL is all about yesterday. A lot of young players. Coach Salah's first game, and now they got punched in the mouth. And, the old saying with, Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan to get punched in the mouth. They got punched in the mouth yesterday. They came back. They'll get better. And I said this on TV the other day, is like, by the end of the season, I think Zach's going to be the rookie of the year. So
love it.
But it'll take some time.
Steve, so great to talk to you. I know you got a flight to catch. We got to get on with the rest of the show, but it's such a pleasure to talk to you. Great time to be a BYU Cougar. We'll be watching you tonight on ESPN.
All right, let's not tear up anymore, man.
No more crying.
What an amazing few days. What an amazing few days. Hey, Cougar Nation, that was awesome. We'll see you around. Anyone sees me down in Vegas for the game tonight, yell, scream, let me know you're there. I would love to say hi.
You got it. Thanks, Steve. Talk to you later, my friend.
Okay, see you, Jarom. See you.
All right.
Steve Young, man. He's the best.
He is the best.
Coming up, a rise and shout out to 63 thou and more.
And should BYU be higher in the national rankings? This is BYU Sports Nation.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork sells Ford vehicles including the F-150, the pickup designed for work and play. Tim Daly Ford maintains a large inventory, providing more choices for selecting an F-150 with the power and engineering to carry and tow heavy loads. The F-150's design offers comfort, safety, and a range of options to choose from. Think Ford, think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
Hi, Spencer Linton here, letting you know when your company joins the BYU team as a corporate partner, your brand can be featured in sports programming on BYU TV and BYU Radio. In addition to all of the great games, you can be part of the BYU coaches shows, place your message in Countdown to Kickoff, basketball pre- and post-game shows, and each weekday on BYU Sports Nation. we invite your team to join ours and become a corporate sponsor of BYU Athletics. For details, email sponsorship@byu.edu today.
I know what it's like to be overlooked, to be doubted, to fly under the radar. I only had one offer coming out of high school, but I was ready for every moment, every opportunity, and every shot that I got. Now I'm playing professional basketball, aiming to be one of the best shooters on the planet. And I'm just getting started. Be ready for your moment with Rapid Reboot, the future of rapid recovery.
On the season premiere of Relative Race, 4 new teams scatter across the country searching for family. Twin sisters begin to uncover the truth about being abandoned.
Abandonment means you just didn't want us.
A firefighter finds a new meaning of brotherhood.
It was like a hole was just being filled.
And a Texas cowboy discovers a life-changing photograph.
This is your mom.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
On the latest Deep Blue podcast, I chat with BYU Associate AD, Director of Marketing and Promotions, David Almodovar, about the fan experience at BYU sporting events, what he learned from working at Southern Utah and Duke, and what marketing was like last year. Listen to it on the BYU Radio app or where podcasts are found.
He is Jarom. I'm Spencer. This is a Monday edition of BYU Sports Nation. Reminder to interact with the show. Follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Let's whip it. Cougar Whip Around presented by Visible Supply Chain Management, tackling America's most challenging shipping problems.
Soccer scores 7 goals in a win. What was louder, BYU's 7 goals or the military flyover by 2 F-35s leading into BYU Utah football? Listen to this. And there was a flyover. We just had a jet flyover, of course, that you just heard, and that startled everybody here. It's about to go over Lavelle Edwards Stadium. What was louder?
Clearly the 2 F-35s. The BYU bench collectively all like ducked down.
Yeah, watch it. Okay, watch it again, but watch the bench. BYU bench on the left. Okay, ready? Here it comes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, crazy.
Yeah. Clearly the F-35s.
Awesome,
that was wild.
Yes.
Man, oh, man.
Coming up, prize and shout out to Cougar Nation.
And how did you celebrate on Saturday? Plus a well-deserved shout-out to the Royal Mob. This is BYU Sports Nation. Should we be higher than number 23, Jarom?
If I got hurt and was laid up at home, I wouldn't even think to call a lawyer. What a hassle. I'd want to meet them first.
What if I told you that for your first consultation, your lawyer will come to you, home or hospital?
Really?
Really.
They do that?
If you've been seriously injured, we'll come to you. It's your job to get better. It's our job to deal with the insurance companies and protect your legal rights.
Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
Lisa Valentine Clark.
And I'm Richie T.
Every weekday morning on The Lisa Show, we share fun, inspirational, and relatable ways to make your life better.
Think of us like breakfast for your ear holes.
Yeah, think of us like that.
That's The Lisa Show, weekday mornings on BYU Radio.
Start your day in a positive way.
You don't want to start your day in a negative way.
No, we got too much of that.
Yeah, let's be positive.
For
positively want to start your day in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Nailed it.
This is BYU Football with Kalani Sitake and Greg Wrubell.
When I was younger, I was a better dancer. Don't show any more dancing. Okay, good. I think we've developed some really good habits the last couple of weeks and looking to step it up again. A lot of great things can happen when they care.
Not bad. That's good stuff.
Hey. Yeah, thank you for ending on that one. That was a good one.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
On the next BYU Sports Nation right now, that's coming up later today, Kiki takes it back to LES to relive the win over Utah. Go to Sam Farnsworth's tweet of having Kiki yell.
He's getting dumped on by water.
Yeah, check it out today on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
That was hilarious.
By the way, Mekhi Becton out 4 to 5 weeks. That's Zach Wilson's left tackle.
It's not going to help the New York Jets offensive line.
Yep.
BYU Sports Nation always available on demand via the BYU TV and BYU Radio apps. Our question of the day: what was your after party like following BYU's win over Utah? At Cougar A70 on Twitter answers: Dreaming Hall outrunning all the Utes down the sideline for 66 yards, dreaming a monster Mahe sack, dreaming 2 Nakuas in blue at the same time. Oh, wait, you mean I wasn't dreaming? Sitting atop the Pac-12 at 2-0. Go Cougs.
That was for you, Wilner.
Yeah. By the way, Ralph Sokolowski, fantastic statistician, confirmed that the 11-game home win streak, 5th longest right now. 18 is the record between 2006 and 2008.
They won all 3 years.
Beat Arizona State.
That's the
How about
David Nixon sophomore through senior year, by the way.
Oh, and he brings it up. He's like, I didn't lose at home from 2006 2008. It's pretty fantastic.
It's an amazing run.
Our elite voice of the day, presented by Sundance Mountain Resort from Jonathan Hawk on Twitter. My after party consisted of staying up past 3 a.m., rewatching highlights of the game, reading all about Cougar Nation's happiness on social media, and having friends message me that they saw me on BYU TV. Yes, I am the fan freaking out behind my friend Lopa54. He was the guy behind Uriah Leatao. Fantastic. All right, another look.
Yeah, there's our guy. Yeah, let's go! Church is the best!
Jonathan.
Love that.
I'm glad you're okay, man.
That's so funny.
Glad you're okay.
Jonathan.
Today's Rise and Shoutouts presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics. Collectively and simply,
everybody.
Jarom,
yes.
To the fans.
Yes.
To the Royal Mob at LaVelle Edwards Stadium.
So good.
To the Royal Mob around the globe. We all know you were sporting your Cougar Blue on Saturday, celebrating the Big 12, and certainly celebrating a momentous win over Utah.
Yes, it was celebrating everything, that running on the field. I couldn't get down there. I was, after the press box, I was trying to find you, frankly, and just hug it out, And it took me forever to get down there. But as I was on the concourse, it was a celebration with everybody else. High fives, let's go. Oh, what a weekend, man.
Special experience, man, to say the least. Our thanks to today's guests, Steve Young and Trevor Matich.
Sorry to Dennis Pitta, who did run out the flag. Awesome. We ran out of time.
For Jarom, I'm Spencer. Shout out to Dewey Gray. How about his prediction for the game? Join Greg Wrubell for Coordinator's Corner live on the BYU TV app in about 2 minutes from now. It's going to be a loaded edition. Go Cougs! Storm the field!